Okay, we kind of went through those steps. The next thing I want to show is over on this side of the radio is our gimbal tilt override. And you look up here on the screen, gimbal inputs. If I slide that, you can see that bar going from nothing to the center to full. I'm going to try to position the camera where you can see the camera mount, the tilt axis. There it is. You should be able to see that move. I'm using this switch to override it. Try to get the radio in the screen if I can. Kind of blurry because I do have it zoomed in. Zoom out a little. Okay, over here on this side of the radio is this slider. Right there. You see the tray moving. There's down, there's center, there's full override of the tilt axis. I don't have the radio on the screen good, but it's this slider on the left side. It could be assigned to a lot of different things. This one is assigned to the slider, to this slider over here. Okay, I'm going to go back to the software on the screen, zoom back in. Okay, quickly again, both sticks full forward and up to the left, held in the corners, is full green bars. The gear switch is our mode, which is channel 5, normal, ATT, GPS. Up is ATT, down is GPS, ATT, which means it's going to hold its altitude and position. Down here is our return to home function. It is off right now. Right here is the switch for return to home. We'll pull that down all the way and it'll go over to the high position, which turns the state of return to home on. Channel 7, which is here, indicating channel 7. I have in that our heading lock switch, which is assigned to this switch here. I'll flip it on. You'll see the bar go over. The heading lock state of control is on, and there here, state of control is off, and it slid the green bar left, to the off position, then to the on position. That's our 3 controls. Here's our gimbal input override. Alright, down here on the bottom, we have this thing called rev test. You can see right here, if I move the throttle, you'll see the throttle bar come up and come up here. That's indicating that your travels are correct. Minimum throttle, maximum throttle. Here's our yaw. You'll see here and here. We're rotating to the left by moving our stick to the left. Rotating to the right, moving our stick to the right. Good little illustration showing you how your machine is going to respond. And we'll come to our right stick, which is our pitch and roll control. Put it forward, you see the thing tip forward. Pull it back, it tips backwards. Move left, in the little illustration, it moves left. You can also do the yaw at the same time, or all of them, all controls at the same time. So you kind of see, get an effect of what's going on if you were flying the machine. So here's our roll function: roll left, roll right, pitch forward, pitch backwards, throttle full, and yaw functions. That's rev. And we're going to save that. Always save once you're finished with your screens. I'm going to kick in and save here again. Okay, now we're going to move down to our fly control. This is all of our sensitivities. I have the return home speed set to 60. I'm going to reduce that to 40. You can set your auto leveling gains here. You can set your stick gains so that they're quicker or slower. You can set your attitude control gain. Now your attitude control gain versus your auto leveling gain is a little different. Your auto leveling gain, and I may be going fast, I want to make this as brief as possible. Your auto leveling gain is how quick the machine comes back to level. Your attitude control gain is how much control you give to your sticks. You can see here when you lay your mouse on each different thing, each different panel, it changes here and tells you what the panel does. There's your attitude, height control gain, position control gain, and return to home gain. I'm going to save that because I did reduce the speed of the return to home. the mouse over your stick gain, your auto leveling gain, your attitude gain, return to home gain, position control gain, and height control gain. That's everything in your flight sim. That's it. The remote screen only refers to how you control the aircraft from your remote. You also have the power on type. We have normal, which means when you plug it in, it's powered on, and there's arming. We're going to use normal. Now we'll go to our gimbal. Our gimbal, same thing. You lay your mouse over each square. It shows you what that section does. We're on the tilt, so it shows you the tilt angles. You can increase the minimum maximum and center point of your tilt from here, and also the speeds that it moves and the override speeds from the radio. Same thing with your roll, although actually with the roll you can't override it with a switch. You actually override it only, there's only one bar here, which is angle gain, which will make it respond softer or harder. And over here is your shutter controls. If you have a shutter installed, you have to set the point where that touches the shutter and say focus your camera, the point to where it actually clicks and the point to where it depresses, and those travels in all those different points. So that is your, see, I'm moving this from one to the other, and you can see that it's changing as I highlight each one. This is your up position, home. Focus point kind of holds the button down like as though it was doing autofocus. There's a certain amount of time that's going to hold there, and then you depress the switch there, and the amount of time that the switch is depressed. So this is your gimbal. Now the AHRS, we do have a compass on here which has already been calibrated, and our calibration has already been done on our AHRS. So, but if you want to level your AHRS, the first time you do this, because it's new firmware, you want to put a bubble level on the top of your AHRS-V2 or AHRS-P, whichever one you have. Level your machine with shims or just spreading the landing gear back and forth, and when your bubble is in the level, click calibrate AHRS and do not touch anything while it is calibrating. The compass, that was the first time you installed the compass. If you look at these ovals, this is a horizontal oval, and this is when the machine stood on its end, a vertical spin. So you would click a check here that says calibrate compass in the next power on. So when you disconnect from this software with that click, the next time you power the aircraft on, you need to be ready to spin this thing that's calibrated outside the house, away from any electrical cords. You spin your aircraft clockwise. 3 times your light will be flashing slow, not while it's flashing fast, or after it's stopped, it's not calibrating anymore, just while it's flashing slow. Turn it on its side, turn it 3 more times around, set it down. By that time, just within a second or a few seconds, your compass light should go solid, and that will have calibrated your compass. At that point, I would power off the aircraft with the radio still remaining on. You always leave the radio on before you plug your battery up. When you're disconnecting your battery, always disconnect your battery before you turn your radio off. It always has to be in that sequence. If you plug that battery up without your radio on, the machine could just take off on its own. You've got to have radio control at all times. Now, autopilot is locked. So it says, if we look, we have 11 satellites. Our accuracy is only 1 meter, so it's going to hold extremely tight with this GPS lock. It's going to be 110 centimeters or less. That's excellent. That's as good as you'll ever see, I would imagine. So the autopilot is in. I've showed you all the stick controls. This is kind of all the screens. Your profile screen is which you'll select which aircraft you're going to be programming. You go all the way from the old X650X style, the old X50 Plus style, the X650 V8, which is what we're doing, the X650 V4, the X450 Pro, the X450, or the DIY Hexa. The X8 is the same as the V8 for programming, if you have the X8, and the X4 is the same as the V4 for programming. So that's all the programming modules. The next screen is your radio control screen, which covers all the functions from your radio to your aircraft, from calibrating your radio to match your aircraft, from checking each stick movement to make sure it corresponds with the proper stick. I'm doing the roll, pitch, and the yaw. Now I'm going to check my ATT gains working off the switch. My return to home is working off this switch. Over here, our heading lock is on and off, on, off. Return to home, on, off. ATT to GPS ATT. And over here, up here at top, showing our gimbal override, or our tilt override. We can't override the roll because it is constantly auto-leveling. You can go here and disable the gimbal, although with another switch on another channel, and make the gimbal where it just locks rigid. And that way, if it's almost like you're the pilot sitting in the airplane. If you did a live FPV view, you could actually fly right off the gimbal. Or if you wanted to record some stable video while you're flying, you could actually then hit the switch and re-enable the gimbal to stabilize your video for level on both roll and tilt axes. And that's it for the software for the moment. If I've missed anything, please post it to the YouTube. I hope this has been informative and helpful. I love the Google Maps. This is the building we're in where a little red X is in the middle. That's what it's going to show you at home. The GPS hold is phenomenal at this point. I did turn the gain down on the return to home to 40. I'm going to soften the gains to 45 on our height control and our position control gain, and I'm going to save that. I'm going to soften this up for the customer that's going to be flying this machine. They want to shoot videos, so they want it to be nice and soft. Remember, the mouse overs shows you what every box does, except on this screen. On the gimbal screen it does, on the flight control screen it does. Over there in the information corner of the screen, there's no information area on the remote control or on the AHRS, but you do have. If you look over here, you see this little box. That's indicating your aircraft movement. You see me moving the aircraft, the box is going to move. Okay, so anyway, it's going to change with the legs spreading out or going back. Now I'm going to disconnect, and it's going to go back to our other screen. Now you're ready to unplug your aircraft. Do not unplug your aircraft while it is connected. Always hit the disconnect. You come back to this screen and then unplug your 4-pin Molex from your USB adapter. Then power down your radio. That's it for our software illustration. The programming in your radio is dependent on what radio you use. I'll try to do another video with the programming the radio into the software, so that maybe someone that will help them. But that is covered most of the software. We've not covered the lights on the GPS, but that's covered in the manual for the GPS. I hope this helps you, and I hope you enjoy. God bless, and have a great one. XAircraft USA, this is Jeffrey Wright. Goodbye for now.